Okay, let's talk about The Last of Us Season 1.
What a bunch of fanboys.
Yeah, it took some deviations, but I don't think they were bad deviations. Uh, they basically told the story beat for beat, and yeah. Alright, time for the longer version. Yeah, The Last of Us Season 1 was a great adaptation. It was a good adaptation of the first game. You know, a lot of people hated on episode 3, but I think episode 3 deserves more credit. Uh, yeah, it changes Bill's character a lot. Mostly because we're seeing a more sour version of Bill in the game, whereas in this we're seeing, well, a much happier version of Bill, which I don't mind. I don't mind. And yeah, you can argue that he loses some interactions with Ellie. That's very true. But at the same time, the story they told was really good. And, the Critical Drinker even said he liked that one.
Enough, the only episode to really engage me on an emotional level was also the one that deviated most from the game and had almost nothing to do with Joel and Ellie, focusing instead on a pair of supporting characters who come together in the wake of the outbreak and basically live together for the next 2 decades, falling in love, sharing danger and companionship, making a life for themselves, and finally growing old and choosing to face the end together with love and dignity. It's totally pointless to the main narrative, and you could argue that it's nothing but an unnecessary distraction, but it's also poignant, sensitively written, and brilliantly acted. Just another forgotten story of survival and humanity in a broken world. But my point here...
So I can't be the only one who found that episode. Yeah, it's a deviation, but it's good, and it's a lot of people's favorite episodes. Yeah, and everyone's gonna talk about the fact that it's a gay romance episode, which there's a lot of gay romances in Hollywood, but this is different. Bill was gay in the game. This is no different. And yeah, the creators are making that big deal about him being gay, but at the same time, Bill is such a good character. He can be gay, but yet you wouldn't care. He's played really well. What's his name? Nick, is it Nick Offerman or something? Nick Offerman. He played the character really well. I had to look up the last name as I've accidentally called him Offender Man before. I know, stupid. He played Bill really well, and it wasn't the same Bill from the game. He was a lot less angry and a lot less, abusive. I guess he was kind of abusive in the game, but thing is, we don't ever see that. I'm glad they chose to tell a more expansive story rather than just give us the whole segment where they're going through Lincoln. That works for a game, but in a show, not really. It's better to just kind of give you a story. Yeah, it's sidetracked. It's sidetracked. I get that. And yeah, there is a lot of sidetracking moments in season 1, but I think most of the time it didn't really matter. It worked well. You could tell they were gonna fit all the game into one season. Like at first, I was having an issue thinking how are they gonna fit all this, but you think about it, the game's if they told the entire story of the game, and it would probably be done in 5 episodes. So they needed to do some sidetracking. I'm glad they included Left Behind. The Left Behind episode was another good one. Yeah, it's another gay romance episode, but I don't want to hear anything about that. It was in the game. Maybe you didn't play the DLC like me, but still, it was there. Yeah, I know Neil Druckmann directed that one, but at the same time, it was well done. And Bella Ramsey, yeah, I can agree. She's probably not the best choice for Ellie, but she does a good job, and she looks young enough. That's why they chose her. I'm sure it's because she looks, at the proper age. She's 19. Oh, they're 19 in real life. I'm sorry about that. Don't cancel me, please don't cancel me. I'm so scared. They did. They did well. I think they did well. Yeah. They most certainly didn't look the part, but you gotta understand to have someone look like Ellie, it's gonna be impossible. It is, I'm pretty sure the voice actress for Ellie doesn't really look like her. I'm pretty sure Ellie's appearance was based off previously known as Ellen Page, now known as Elliot Page. But yeah, you're just not. You can find someone like that, sure. But it would probably just be better to find someone who can play the character instead of having to look. That's the whole thing with it. I like someone who can play the character. Pedro Pascal, he doesn't really look like Joel, but he can play the character. The woman who played Tess, she did kind of look like Tess, but she's a good actress. I've seen her in Fringe, and she did a really good job with Tess. Nick Offerman as Bill, yeah, he did a good job. And even Joel's voice actor, hold on, I'm gonna look that up. Troy Baker. I almost said Nolan North, but it's Troy Baker. Nolan North, I think, voices Nathan Drake, and he was in the Uncharted movie. Probably the best part of that movie, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Troy Baker did a good job. You know, he didn't have many lines, and you could tell he looked a bit awkward being on camera, but at the same time, he's used to doing. He's probably used to doing the mocap acting. This was real. You know, not. I don't want to say it's real acting. It's all forms of acting is acting, but you know, this is acting in front of a camera and actually having to. I'm trying to think of. You know, you don't have to T-pose at the end. I don't know. I'm sure mocap acting is just as hard as acting in front of, on like a set in front of a camera doing different. It's all the same. I'm trying to explain my way out of this, but I can't. He did a good job. He was great as the right hand man. Now, the actor who played David, Scott Shepherd, he did a good job. David was way more unhinged, I think, in the show than he is in the game, and that definitely works in the show's favor. He's one of those actors who look familiar, but you really never know what he's in. I guess I could recognize him. He was in El Camino. The Breaking Bad movie, he was in that. He was also in a season of True Detective, but I've never seen the season he was in. I've only seen season 1, and only a little bit of season 1. But yeah, Scott Shepherd did a good job as David. And of course, I almost forgot to talk about them. The brothers in Kansas City. You had Lamar Johnson playing Henry, and you had I feel so bad. I'm gonna butcher this kid's name. Please don't take this to heart, kid. Kevon Woodard, as Sam, and Kevon did a really good job. And I'm kind of glad they made that change to Sam. A lot of people were upset that Sam was deaf and mute, but I didn't mind that so much. It actually made me feel for his character even more. And they removed kind of an awkward scene replacing it with a new awkward scene in the game, where Sam is just kind of bitter, as he's been bit and he kind of knows he's gonna die. In this, at least, it gives Sam some hope before he turns. And yeah, it was a heartbreaking scene with Sam and Henry. And it was just really they did a good job. Lamar and Kevon, they played the brothers really well, and yeah, Kansas City was it was there was a lot of sidetracking in the Kansas City stuff, but I liked it. I thought it was done well, and that's just me. I'm repeating myself a lot, but I just think I think it's good. There's a lot more actors I could talk about, but really I just want to talk about how they did the story. Now, The Last of Us show basically did the story beat for beat. A lot of the key moments were in there. Joel's daughter, Sarah dying, Tess dying in the Boston Capitol building. They changed that a little bit. They had a little bit of a creepy thing, but other than that, it was the same. Uh, they go to Tommy's town. They say some communist stuff. And they go to the hospital, and of course we know what happens in the hospital. Joel just wipes out the Fireflies there, and that comes in comes the most it's the most controversial part. It's what they were saying this was going to split the fan base. It's already split the fan base. The creators should know by now. 90% of the people who are watching this are fans of the game. They either hate watching it or watching it as they generally enjoy the story. And Joel wipes out the Fireflies, kills the doctor. He kills Marlene. That episode, they even add a little bit of a backstory to how Ellie got her cordyceps immunity. Her mother was apparently bitten while giving birth. I guess that's how it worked. And Ellie's the only one. But then you think about it. Maybe she isn't. It kind of adds a whole idea that maybe there was another baby born like this. And Ellie isn't the only one. And Marlene had to put her mother down because she was gonna turn, and she didn't want to turn. Now, of course, there's the whole: is Joel a villain, or is he justified? I really think it depends on the way you look at it. You see, the big mistake the Fireflies didn't make, I think, was they didn't ask Ellie. They didn't ask her. They took the risk of not asking her if she'd be willing to sacrifice herself. And I think if she had explained that to Joel, Joel wouldn't have gone on his little rampage with a Mini 14, and eventually the M16. Or M4, sorry, not M16. And, yeah, it probably wouldn't have gone down that way. The thing is, they were being very fishy, and they were trying to get Joel out of there, as they knew Joel was going to be an issue. And they were probably going to kill Joel, let's be real. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't just do it in the hospital, but we all knew it was going to end like that. And it's it can divide. Personally, I don't think Joel was in the wrong. I don't like the Fireflies. I think they're the same as Fedra. They just don't have the budget. They don't have, I can't say budget, there's really no money. They don't have the same weaponry. They are far less well prepared compared to Fedra. I don't think either of them are good. They're both two sides of a shit coin. And honestly, Joel wiping out the Fireflies there wasn't exactly a bad thing. Now, yeah, he killed the only doctor who can make a vaccine, as far as we know. You could argue there's probably there's probably doctors at Tommy's camp. There's probably doctors all over. There's probably a doctor in a Fedra safe zone somewhere in America. Probably overseas. You never know. I don't think Joel was in the wrong. But, of course, he did kill a lot of people. And he was doing it for his own selfish reasons, which is why you could say he's in the wrong. But you really can't blame the man. He's lost one child already. He sees Ellie as his daughter. And he was not going to lose another kid. So, yeah. Joel may have been in the wrong in the grand scheme of things, but in a moral standpoint, it may be in the selfish way, he's not in the wrong. I don't think he was. And I think a lot of parents would argue that he wasn't in the wrong. Ask a parent how many of them would sacrifice themselves, their kid, to save humanity if their kid could. Say they had to kill their kid to stop the volcano from erupting. They would be against it. Maybe they were in a brainwashed sense of things. They wouldn't be, but most parents would be against it. A lot of parents would destroy the world for their kids, if you think about it. I'm not a parent, but I've talked to a lot of parents. I've heard stories from parents of what they do to keep their kids safe. I talked to my dad. My dad said he would have done the same thing if it were that situation. He would basically straight up murder the entirety of the Fireflies to save me. And that it's good to hear that. Uh, is yeah, I'd probably be like, wait, you have to cut my head off and access my brain? Yeah, no. But yeah, that was the big dividing thing they were talking about. And I don't know. I think I think it's gonna be a divided discussion no matter what. Is you have so many takes on this, but in the end of the day, it's just a fucking video game. It's just a fucking TV show. It shouldn't be taken as serious as that. But that's just my opinion. I'd like to hear your opinion. Make a comment. Uh, what did you think of The Last of Us final and The Last of Us in general? I know a lot of people don't like it, especially after all the woke stuff, which I kind of understand at this point. Even if you do a good job at telling a story with those characters, it's gonna be hard for someone to accept that. And that it's their opinion. I don't mind their opinion, and I personally liked it, but I know a lot of people didn't like it, and that's okay. That's what's great about uh, no, there's nothing really great about the internet, but that's what's great about us. We can have different opinions, and you know, we don't have to like them, but we don't have to hate the person for having those opinions. Uh, and yeah, that's really it. Like I said, leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of the series in general or the final. I personally liked it. I liked the series. The final was good. It followed the game, and that's all you can ask for. It's not like Halo where I gave up after one episode. And leave a like, leave a dislike, even though you can't see them publicly. I still take dislikes as a form of what I should make and what I shouldn't make. Uh, yeah. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell button. And yeah, I hope you stick around. Um, have a wonderful day.